Welcome to Grandad's Art Space with me, Terry. First thing I want to do, Slava, Ukraine. We love you. We're standing with you. We agree that the tyrant that's invaded your country had no right, and he's going to pay dearly for what he's done. He's going to pay through sanctions, which are now being enforced upon him, and they're quite heavy, even though I don't think that's enough. But who am I? I'm nothing. I don't work for the government. I'm not in the military. All I got is that on YouTube. And I stand with my mate, my Mara Gav, and what he says is correct. I also saw that video of the little girl. Angry is not the word. Now, as a Christian, I know a lot of you don't agree, and that's fine. I'm not here to push Christianity. I'm not here to smack you over the head with the Bible. That's not what I do. I'm a born-again Christian, not a religious Christian. And that's different. But the Bible does tell us that in Revelation that there'll be wars and rumours of wars, but the end is not yet. Even though the word tells us that we're going to have wars, and don't blame God for it. It's nothing to do with God. It's man. It's man's greed. It's man's constant wanting for power that causes wars. We can live at peace. I'm a Christian. Gav isn't. We're at peace. We don't hate one another. We've got quite a large community of Russians around here, Ukrainians, Polish, all sorts. Are we at war? No. In actual fact, I feel sorry for the Russians that do live around here, because they must feel absolutely terrible that they've got families back in Russia. So I'm making a video. They've got families back in Russia, possibly Ukraine, and they're having to watch this. Pop's joined me. He agrees as well. That this shouldn't be. But let me tell you this. As a Christian, and as a community of Christians in our church and other churches, we're praying. We are praying for Putin to be expelled from the Ukraine. We're praying that he'll step down. He'll be taken down. Not killed, but he'll be taken down and charged with the war crimes that he's doing. He has no right to be in the Ukraine. That's a sovereign nation. That's their nation. He has no right. Just because it used to be under the Soviet Union doesn't mean it is now. If that's the case, then half the countries in the world should be under one or two maniacs, because their country used to own. What about the British Empire? How many countries did we own? Did we take by force? We're giving them back. They're again sovereign nations. They run themselves. And he should respect that. Just because he wants to make a name for himself No, it's not right. It's not right at all. But I watched another video of a Ukrainian man in his village going along the road. I don't know what he was saying because I don't speak or understand Ukrainian, but I got the gist of what he was saying. And there was all these burnt out Russian military vehicles, one after the other, after the other, after the other. A whole sort of convoy wiped out. So if Putin thinks he's just going to walk into the Ukraine and not get hurt, he's got another thing coming, because the Ukrainians are not taking this lying down. And the one thing that really surprised me, now I'm going to probably pronounce this wrong because I don't know how it's pronounced, but the Russian Special Forces, Spasnik, is it, or something like that? They took that airport, then lost it. Oh, come on. Could you see the SAS losing something they've just gained? No. Or the American equivalent, can't remember what they're called, SEALs? No, not at all. So is he as strong as he makes out? Was it all bluster? I know he's got the forces, and he's going in there by force, but he's losing. And as we're praying, as the Christians are praying, we're asking our Lord to push him back, to take him out. Now, when we read in history, we ain't got to go back too long to the Second World War. What happened there? Hitler invaded Poland. From there, he spread out over Europe. Now, is this tyrant thinking the same? Let's take Ukraine first. Then, as Gav said, hit the Baltic states, because there's not very many people who live there, and their armed forces are not anything really in comparison. But then he comes up against Poland, and he comes up against NATO. And that's the big concern. Because if he comes up against somebody like NATO, that means we're involved. That means, as Gab pointed out, your sons, your daughters will be fighting. Your grandsons, granddaughters, nieces, nephews, all those that have joined the forces will be fighting. All those, I don't know whether Gav is still on the call-up roll, but as an ex-soldier, he'd be called up. And then it'll be the likes of us that have had some sort of training, never been in the military, but had some sort of training, who will be then called to, again, try and defend if that tyrant decides to take the whole of Europe and then come at us. You ready for that one? Just a thought. That's all it is, just a thought. But we need to stop him now, before it gets out of hand. So do what you can. Make a video. We sit here, we paint our soldiers. We play war games. Well, this is real. We ain't painting soldiers. We ain't having war games. We're trying to stop a tyrant from illegally owning a country that's not his. And yes, as a Christian, I deplore war. I deplore all forms of fighting. We should be at peace. Yeah. Peace. Yeah. Don't see much of that, do we? It's a shame. But I do believe that if we pull together as a community, painters, players, and to sound our voice of disapproval, and this is of enough, then the government has to listen. I think it's something like if it was 100,000 people sound their voice, the government has to listen. Well, that's 2. That's a start. Anybody else going to join us? Anybody else going to stand up and be counted? And take the stand against a tyrant? Make a video. Send out peace and love to the Ukrainian people. Not asked for this. I don't believe for a second half the Russian military wants this. They're probably just as concerned of dying as what the Ukrainians are. Just think of all the Russian families back at home who have now lost sons and fathers in this stupid power struggle. This stupid want of territory so he can stand there and say, I done it. No. Sorry, Putin. As a Christian amongst thousands of Christians who are praying for your downfall, who are praying for your downfall, Putin. And believe you me, our God listens. And beware. You don't change your attitudes, you don't change your ways, you don't change your life. You continue in this, something nasty might come your way. Make a video, guys. Stand with government. Slava, Ukraine.